Good evening and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this evening. Give me your thoughts on the events of today. The Celtic board have completely shut it, and they put Paulo. But I want to talk about who's in charge at Celtic and why Celtic felt the need today to put out a Celtic player for a press conference ahead of the game on Sunday. Normally, the press conference wouldn't take place until Friday. Why did Celtic feel the need today to put Paulo Bernardo out? And I feel sorry for Paulo Bernardo. The look on Paulo Bernardo's face, the demeanour of Paulo Bernardo today, that was a player that did not want to be in that position. I've analysed the Paulo Bernardo interview as much as I could because I'm not a professional shrink or anything, I'm just a YouTuber. But the body tone and language of Paulo Bernardo, it's as if he was pushed out. He was pushed out by the Celtic hierarchy as a damage limitation to try and appease the fans, to try and tell the fans what were going on. In the meantime, Celtic were holding talks with the manager. Paulo Bernardo has hardly played any football this season. And to put Paulo Bernardo out, and that's his body language, that's a boy that's been told, you've got a job to do, you do it. You're paid by Celtic. You go out and you say this, and that's it. Where the fuck is Callum McGregor? Callum McGregor's not played one part in any interview since the manager came in. When you look at what Paulo Bernardo said, for me it was a damage limitation interview. Paulo Bernardo was calm, he was respectful, he was careful in everything that he said. There was no anger, there was no defiance, there was no throwing anyone under the bus. You know, it was a very repetitive language of a sign of pressure that the players are under, obviously. There was an uncertainty, and there was definitely an air of no confidence. That is not a player. The look on Paulo Bernardo's face. Choosing his words wisely to protect his manager. Choosing his words wisely to protect the manager. To protect the dressing room. To protect himself. So that the fans don't turn against him. He repeatedly said during the interview, it's on us as players. We need to find solutions. It's not all about the coach. Was Paulo Bernardo put up to that interview? Why was Paulo Bernardo pushed out to the media today? Who is really in control of Celtic Football Club? It's been alleged that this afternoon in the meeting before Wilfred Nancy was summoned to the meeting, that there were two directors that wanted him out the door. It's alleged that two members of the board wanted them out, and the other two members were undecided, hence the reason that the manager has been given the dreaded vote of confidence. Paulo Bernardo went on to talk about that they're fully behind the manager. It was a very prepared interview by Paulo Bernardo. It was a very carefully worded, this is what you say to the media, Paulo. As if someone at Celtic, the media guy, had decided to put Paulo out there. Why did they feel the need to put them out every single day that we've got a game on, every single week that we have a game on a Friday? You have the press conference from the player first of all, at around about 1:30 in the afternoon on the Friday. and then you have the manager. Celtic will put out the player press conference on the Friday afternoon, and then they will put out the manager press conference. Why did Celtic call the press conference early for the player? Did they expect Wilfred Nancy to accept the 1.2 million that was on the table? There's a severance pay, 1.2 million. Take it and go. Did they manage to talk the other two directors around? Helen saying, where did the story from Peter Martin come from? It obviously came from someone inside Celtic Park. There are fractions within Celtic Park, within the higher parts of the board. I don't think that everyone's singing on the same hymn sheet. There's no passion, it's just an obligation by Paulo Bernardo today. There was absolutely no passion at all. It was an obligation from a player to fulfil his duties as a Celtic player. Why Paulo Bernardo? Paulo Bernardo he's never had... We've been crying out to see Paulo Bernardo all season. We didn't want to see him at this point. The board are calling everything abuse. Yes, Paddy Burns, I think that he's been given an ultimatum. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. There was leaks coming out of Celtic today. There were leaks to the media saying that he was gone. He was done. There was leaks that he got a 1.2 million payoff. 1.2 million is not bad for a 2 weeks work, is it? But he wanted to fight his corner. He wanted another 2 games to turn it around. And 2 of the board members... Stephen Sloan, you're bang on. 16 defeats in 2025. This is 1990s level football. It is. And I've spoke about that over the last couple of days. We're back in 1990 stuff. But getting back to Paulo Bernardo, the fact that there's no passion about his interview today, there was an obligation. It was, look, I'm just here to do my job as a player. I've been told that I need to sit here and answer the questions. This is the questions. The Celtic media team will have asked exactly what are the questions that you want to ask the player. I want to know why Paulo Bernardo was put out to the media today. It never happens. But Celtic in their wisdom are trying to deflect. Maybe they were trying to deflect the fact that there was a high possibility. It was very real this afternoon. There was a very real chance that we would have got rid of him today. But whatever happened, something happened in between the closed door corridors of Celtic Park that they fucking copped out. And I don't like to see anybody lose their job, especially after such a short period. But when it's out there and you've got journalists speaking about the fact that he's been made an offer, it's the compensation package is getting worked out, and he's managed to blag it. Who were the 2 directors that wanted him out, and who were the 2 directors that said no? And where is Dermot Desmond at this point? Maybe Martin O'Neill said no to coming back. I don't think that was part of it. I've no idea. Remember Greg Taylor? The whole COVID year? Bruni AWOL? Yeah, exactly. And Paulo Bernardo then went on to speak about the system changes. And this was the biggest red flag in the interview for me. Paulo Bernardo admitted that Celtic haven't played the system for 5 or 6 years. They've been playing a back 3. Now they want to play a back 5 and stuff. It's not the Celtic way. There's been very little training time. And that's interesting by Paolo Bernardo. That admission from Paolo Bernardo to say, look, we haven't trained to play 3 at the back. We haven't trained to play 5 at the back. There's not been any preparation on the training pitch. The red flags going off everywhere right now at Celtic. And it's not fucking for a fucking penalty or offside. It's unbelievable. Paulo Bernardo then went on to say that there's been very little training time, but he also admitted that the players weren't ready. And that was the biggest thing that I took away, that he indirectly admitted that the players weren't ready for it. The system doesn't suit the squad. We all know this. You know, this is one thing that we take. Players are learning during matches. That is not a good system. That is not a good manager. You cannot learn a system during live games. Yes, in pre-season. I never said Martin O'Neill was on his way. Kevin O'Hare. Go back to the video this afternoon and look at the video this afternoon. I said it was suggested by a certain media outlet that Martin O'Neill was on his way. Feel free to go off the video. I'm only reporting what I see out there and what is getting spoken about. But you look at the way that, and I'm not going to read the comments because I'm not into infighting, and Celtic fans are wanting to fight with everybody just now. All I'm here is I'm just giving my opinion. It's called the One Celtic Fan's View, and if you can't take that, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because the fucking clubs are shambles. The clubs are shambles. The support doesn't know where it's going. The support doesn't even know which direction it wants to go in with protesting against the current board. That's the situation that we're in. If you don't like the fucking truth, switch off. You switch off for the BBC. Sometimes you need someone to just go, you know what, this is the fucking situation that we're in. Simple. And I don't see many other people fucking doing that online. The system doesn't suit the squad. The players are learning during matches. The confidence is draining because of mistakes on the pitch during games. And that's not an individual thing. That is a complete thing for the whole squad. It's not about balancing the team. That's footballer code for that it isn't balanced yet. The fans turning on the manager. Paulo Bernardo accepted and acknowledged the fan anger. He says that fans, and this is where the real Paulo Bernardo, the sympathetic, the empathetic, the player that knows that fans pay good money to go and watch football. He said the fans dedicate their lives to this club. And the fact that Paulo Bernardo had to plead for unity. It's a sad, never mind Martin O'Neill saying it's a sad day for Celtic Football Club. Today was a sad day for Celtic Football Club because the board didn't have the balls to tell the manager that his time was up. They listened to the manager to convince him that he wants a couple of more games. And then Celtic had to come out to the media with all the questions. This is the same Celtic board that say nothing to the fans, but they felt compelled today to come out and say to the media that we're backing the manager, even though he's lost 4 games today. There was no statement put out via the Celtic website. There was no social media call. There was nothing like that from Celtic FC. It was all about sending out little messages to the right sources and the right media outlets to tell Celtic fans, we back the manager. The dreaded vote of no confidence. He was given the vote of confidence. It's now a case of how long does he have? The silence from Celtic is terrible. The fact that Celtic FC are still to this day trying to manipulate the media like it's 1994, like it's 1999, like it is 2001. When Peter Lawwell came into the club, Peter Lawwell was a master of dictating to the media the narrative of the story. Celtics today tried to dictate the narrative of the story. But the story was already out there. Someone within Celtic Park is releasing the story. The narrative is not being kept within the corridors of power at Celtic. That is a sad realisation of all fans tonight. I think we all thought that the board had maybe grown a set of balls overnight and got rid of Wilfred by allowing them to stay even another 2 games. And maybe it is the case. Maybe Martin O'Neill went, fuck that shit. I'm not walking back into that shit show. You've made your bed. You fucking lie in it. I would have stayed if you asked me, but you didn't ask me. You wanted to bring him in. And now you deal with that shit show because I'm not dealing with it. Because maybe Martin O'Neill did say thanks, but no fucking thanks. Would you come back into Celtic 2 weeks later with the mindset of the fucking player, the fans hate everybody connected to Celtic? Young players are not good enough. Squad players are not good enough. Captain's not good enough. The most decorated player in Celtic's history is deemed not good enough. Why would Martin O'Neill want to come back and tarnish anything that he's done in the last couple of weeks? Never mind the legacy, and never mind the fact that he believes that he doesn't have a legacy. But why the fuck would you want to come back to that? Because the toxicity at the club has went from what it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was kind of fading off a bit. It was calming down. Fans were getting a feel-good factor. Yesterday, you had a member of the board at Celtic Football Club take his mobile phone out his pocket, point it at fans, and record the fans, and then give the fans a thumbs up. The same fans that were calling for him to resign from Celtic. That's playground stuff. That's not top executives club stuff. This is probably the darkest day in the history of Celtic Football Club for a long, long time. Purely for the fact that we had the opportunity to wipe the slate clean, and we didn't wipe the slate clean. Paulo Bernardo was then asked about confidence of the players. His answer was hesitant. It was unsure. He says probably. He admits that he doesn't know the solution. They hung Paulo Bernardo out to dry today. Why? Who sanctioned that press conference? Why was it put out today? There was no need for Paulo Bernardo to be put out in front of the media on a Thursday when we had a game on Wednesday and we don't play till Sunday. Normally it is Friday afternoon. Usually at Celtic, you get a lot of players that will try and fake certainty. You know that, yes, we're going to win. It's certain, it's pure. Paulo Bernardo didn't even try that. He spoke about the first half and the second half and the commitment and the alarm bells that are going off within the squad. First half against Dundee United was one of the best that we've seen all season, according to Paulo Bernardo. A lot of the fans online, a lot of fans on the watch along, always forgiven. big up Wilfred Nancy. We're playing amazing football. The system can work when energy's high, when players trust it. But what seems to be happening just now is when the pressure is on, the players don't trust the manager. The players don't trust the process. The players don't have the confidence, the belief, or the effort to be able to change it. There's nothing new, you might say. Chris Sutton called it last night and says that, these players are substandard players. They shouldn't be playing at Celtic. Some players should be at Celtic, but they should be coming through a system. They shouldn't be first team players. Paulo Bernardo corrected himself in the interview today. He emphasised that Celtic must win every game. He says Sunday isn't just a match, it's a pressure release valve. And if the Celtic players, and there's already buses that are having fans saying that they're not taking up their ticket allocation for the game this weekend, you're going to see a lot of empty seats at Celtic Park this weekend with people that are just going, fuck this pish. The pressure valve of Celtic this weekend is a pressure cooker. And we could have took the lid off the pressure cooker today. We could have took the lid off the pressure cooker and we could have went, do you know what? Let's just move on from Wilfred Nancy. We'll take the hit. We'll take the 1.7 million hit. We move on and we go, fuck it. Do you know, we take that 1 point, we get Sean. You don't even need Martin O'Neill back. Do you know, there was the rumours coming out of Talk Sport this afternoon. The rumour from Talk Sport was Martin O'Neill was coming back. Martin O'Neill was on Talk Sport on Monday. I think that they would know if one of their employees, someone that has airtime on their radio station, had gone, do you know what? It's been nice coming back on Monday, but Celtic want me back. Yeah, I'm getting told it's fake news and I was lying when it was Talk Sport that done it. But anyway, we move on from that. When we look at the interview from the player and we look at the pressure release valve that's been... It was a boiling pot. We could have taken the lid off the pressure pot today. Do you know that pressure cooker that you stick in the oven and it's just boiling away with fucking sack the board, get rid of Desmond. The fans hate everybody. The new manager's come in. The fucking fans hate him also. The fans then start shouting for Martin O'Neill. The board could have went, do you know what? Let's take the fucking lid off the pressure cooker. Let's get rid of the manager. Let's diffuse the situation. And they didn't. They shot it. They kept him in place. If the result doesn't go the right way this weekend, the manager is under pressure. The dressing room's under pressure. The media narrative then turns on the indecision of the Celtic board. And that indecision happened today. And that's why I think this is the saddest day. Martin O'Neill said that the AGM was the saddest day. It wasn't. Today, the board lost its balls. Simple as that. And it's not about just sacking the board because of the incompetence of the board over... The board had a big chance today to redeem themselves slightly. It wasn't a get out of free jail card. It wasn't go straight to go. It wasn't go round the Monopoly board and fucking, go straight to go thing. It was a chance that, it's not worked out. Let's fucking throw our hands up. It's not worked out. Take your 1.2 million wealth and, It didn't work out. Put Sean Maloney back in charge. Put McManus in with him. Get Fozzie back in. You don't even need Martin O'Neill back because Martin O'Neill was just there as the figurehead. And let's just see us out to the end of the season. Damage limitation. We didn't even fucking do that today. And that's the disappointing bit. And if it does go the way that we're all expecting it to go, Aberdeen turn us over at the weekend, puts pressure on the league. The results go the right way in other games at the weekend, and Celtic find themselves going down the league. The pressure pot, fucking lid's just blown off it. There was rumours that Dermot Desmond had flew into London today, and there was rumours that he was speaking to Martin O'Neill. Whatever's happened today, we all can agree on one thing. No one is saying that the system suits the players. No one says that the results will return quickly to Celtic. No one is saying that the performances will improve anytime soon, even if we bring in a new manager, even if we bring in Martin O'Neill, even if we bring in Sean Maloney. We're going to have the same players with the same issues and the same tactical bullshit that they're just not good enough. No one sounds confident at Celtic just now. The board do not sound confident. The players are not confident. There's conversations going on at Celtic that are just at the least embarrassing at boardroom level. The bottom line is that the squad are trying to believe. The manager's under pressure. The system is not familiar. It's rushed. People getting asked to learn a system during playing a game. Confidence is fragile. The face of Paulo Bernardo tells you that's a professional football player. Look at the look on Paulo Bernardo's face. That's a player that's thinking, what the fuck, and how the fuck did I end up in this situation? How the fuck am I getting put out? I've hardly kicked a fucking ball all season. What the fuck have I done to be put here? Did they fucking hate me that much? Unity's been talked about at Celtic by Paulo Bernardo today, by Brian Wilson yesterday, spoke about unity. It's a very, very manufactured line that's been put out by the Celtic media team. The Celtic media guy at Celtic is trying to put over some kind of lovey-dovey, let's just fall back in love moment to make sure that there's no mutiny within the stands, that it's not panic. But there's one thing, all they're doing is creating more and more uncertainty. And that's where we are on Thursday the 18th of December. We're uncertain about the manager. We're definitely uncertain about the board. We're even more uncertain about the quality of every single player at Celtic Park. And that's absolutely devastating, because I have never seen Celtic players. I've never seen any Celtic player going back. My dad was mates with Roy Aitken. I can remember sitting with Murdo McLeod, Tommy Burns, Roy Aitken, Davy Provan. Not one of them had the look that Paulo Bernardo had on his face today. Never mind these clowns. These three clowns when you've got Michelangelo Balikwisha standing behind them, looking at them on the Hampden pitch, they look so far out their depth that they shouldn't be near a professional football club. And then when you look at Paulo Bernardo, it's absolutely devastating that they've took the heart. This is self-inflicted. Yeah, mate, that was 1995. That was during the dark days. That was during the period of we didn't know who was going to be manager. Do you know, it was terrible. Anyway, let's jump into some of the comments to see what you're saying. I'm 100% for Nancy. Jesus God, at least someone is. Focus needs to be on the board, not idiot Tisdale. Nancy's the wrong guy at the wrong club. I actually don't. I'm not sure where we go now, because I think that the indecisive nature of the board, and we know that this is Michael Nicholson all over, because Michael Nicholson is a man that would not pick up the phone to Birmingham for Birmingham to say, we agree the 3 million, we just need your confirmation, can you sign this bit of paper? And Michael Nicholson would not pick up the phone, so Birmingham pulled the deal. Did we really expect him to go into negotiations with a Celtic manager to say, look mate, it's not working out? And it makes it even worse when the Celtic manager manages to convince him that even after 4 defeats, it's right that he stays on. Whether it's right or it's wrong, the fact is the board shat it today. They didn't shit it from the fans. They didn't collapse from fan pressure. They collapsed at the thought that we're going to have to pay out 1.2 million. And rather than just pay out the 1.2 million and get rid of the guy and move forward, we're now going to go into the game this weekend with a hope, a prayer, and a bloody confident looking player like this. And if this is the confidence of the players going into any game this weekend, God help us. Because I'll tell you one thing, all our stars have gone the last 2 seasons. We've never replaced the same quality. We haven't that. The last decent member of the board was Don Mackay. Exactly. And it's been a sad day since Don Mackay left the club. We've never been the same. But never mind. There's one thing for sure, is whatever happens, that the Celtic fans will still be here. We might not go to games. Yeah, I am. I'm dreading. I'm. How could you not be on a downer when you see Paulo Bernardo? And there's more questions that have come out of today. There's so many more. I could get angry and come on here, but then you're just going to get Huns coming on and going, "Oh, fucking loving the meltdown, you fanny." I'm doing a good Reverend I Am Jolly. Dearly beloved. Anyway, chin up. We've got a game this weekend. It'll be interesting to see what the manager says tomorrow when the manager takes his press conference. You know what he's going to get asked? He's going to get asked all about the meeting. He's going to get asked about the possibility of him being sacked. He's going to get asked about the timeline of him being sacked, and he's going to be just giving it the freed Paulo. Yeah, the freed Paulo. And I feel sorry for Paulo Bernardo, because we freed him We wanted to free Paulo Bernardo for him to excel on the pitch. And what did Celtics do? Celtic put him out in front of the mainstream media to take questions, to try and lie and say, yeah, everything's fine, mate. It's not all on the manager. We have to big up and take responsibility. Yeah, you have. But anyway, that's me done for this evening. I shall see you tomorrow morning. Fuck knows what we'll be talking about tomorrow morning because, you know, anything might happen during the night. Dermot Desmond might fly in and just take him out altogether. Oh. Anyway, it's not for my fault, man. Tonight it's someone else's. Blame them. Barnos. It was. It was Paulo Bernardo's hostage video. Paulo Bernardo has been taken hostage. Free, free, Paulo B. Free, free, Paulo B. Free, free, Paulo B. Have a fantastic night, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world.